Friends, welcome to Learning Space Lectures. Today is 26th February 2015. Just now the budget speech of the Honorable Railway Minister concluded, and we are going to discuss the salient features of the railway budget of Mr. Suresh Prabhu. Right, before going into the salient features of this year's budget, let me tell a few words about the origin of railway budget. During the year 1920-21, a 10-member committee was appointed under the chairmanship of Mr. Ackworth. It is William Ackworth. Under the chairmanship of Mr. William Ackworth, a 10-member committee was appointed to look into the aspect whether the railway finances can be separated from the general finances. Based on the committee recommendations, in the year 1924, the railway budget got separated. And from that date onwards, that means from 1924 onwards, we have separate budget for railways, and after independence also we are continuing the same practice. So from the year 1924, this railway budget got separated from general budget, and this is being continued even after independence. Right? Look into the next one. What exactly is budget? Budget is nothing but a statement. It's a financial statement indicating what is the revenue, what is the expenditure, and what are the grants for various projects or for various works. This is budget in a nutshell. Budget is nothing but the statement, the financial statement indicating what is the revenue, what is the expenditure. If you look at the two important aspects of budget, any budget, especially I am talking about railway budget. Railway budget for any year constitutes two things. One is revised estimate for the current year. That means when Mr. Suresh Prabhu is presenting the budget in February 2015, we are in the financial year 2014-15. Remember, financial year starts on April 1st and ends on March 31st. We are in 2014-15 financial year. So when the budget is presented in the month of February, the revised estimate for the current year is presented, and the budget estimates for the next year are presented. Budget estimate for 2015-16 and revised estimates for 2014-15 will become part of the railway budget. Of course, general budget has got three things, but railway budget has got these two things, that is revised budget for the current year and budget estimates for the next financial year. Right? After that, generally one more thing I would like to tell you, railway budget is presented just 1 or 2 days before the general budget. Right? So, have a snapshot on railways affairs. Railway is a mammoth organization employing approximately 13 lakh people. Headquarters is in New Delhi. It has got 16 zonal railways headed by general manager rank official. And Indian Railways has 65,000 kilometers of route length, and almost 2.1 crore people or 21 million people travel by train every day. This is simply a snapshot on railways. And look at the next one. What are the real challenges faced by railways? The real challenges faced by railways, basic thing is, major revenue is going into the operational expenditure. What is operational expenditure? Operational expenditure is nothing but expenditure for salaries of staff, expenditure for fuel like diesel and electricity, expenditure for pensions for the retired employees. So these are all working expenses. So operational expenditure is more. That's why less amount is left for creating assets. Creation of assets is very important, but most of the expenditure is going towards operational expenditure. This is the biggest challenge faced by Indian Railways. The second important challenge is most of the projects are sanctioned on political considerations than on economic considerations. Most of the projects are sanctioned on political considerations than on economic considerations. So this is the second important aspect where railway is failing. Third important thing is, railways is the government owned organization. Being a government organization, the lethargy and inefficiency in the bureaucracy is at the highest. Because of these things, the projects are not going at expected pace. Customer is not satisfied. That means passenger traveling in the train is not satisfied. Projects are not going at required pace, and there is not much money for capital expansion. If a new line is to be constructed on economic considerations, there is not much money left. So these are the challenges. In the midst of these challenges, the new Railway Minister Suresh Prabhu presented this year's budget. I would like to tell you, in recent times, this is the budget without populist measure. There is no populist measure. Here, no new trains were announced in the budget. And most of the things Mr. Suresh Prabhu talked about is structural reforms and a sense of new direction for the budget. Right? Let us look at one by one. The salient features of this year's budget. The first one is no increase in passenger fares. One should be happy with this announcement. The second one is no new trains announced in the budget. Mr. Suresh Prabhu told that trains will be announced when the budget session is in progress, depending on the availability of line capacity, because some of the lines are already saturated. There is not much scope to run additional trains in certain corridors, and new trains will be announced when the session is going on. The normal tendency is announce number of trains in the budget itself. So this budget deviated from that aspect. That means no populist measures. The third thing is more emphasis on customer satisfaction by leveraging technology. He talked about apps for security. He talked about helplines. And he talked about e-catering. That means leveraging technology, he wants to satisfy the customer. This is the second most important point which is evident from the budget speech. Third important point is more emphasis on PPP mode of project execution, because government money is not available. So that's why the commitment of this present government is to push the projects more towards PPP route or public-private partnership route. That means private parties will invest with the collaboration of government, and subsequently the returns will be shared accordingly. This is another important shift, right? And most important thing is, in a nutshell, if someone wants, I would like to tell two things about this budget. No populist measures. Second thing is, there is a structural shift towards public-private partnership projects. Third thing is customer satisfaction by leveraging technology. To ensure these goals, he devised 11 thrust areas. And now we are going to discuss important aspects as enunciated by him. The first thing is new toilets at 650 stations, he announced in the budget. Second thing is 17,000 toilets will be made bio toilets. What is the main concept of bio toilet? The main concept of bio toilet is convert waste to energy. You have to convert waste towards energy. This concept is going to be introduced by the Honorable Railway Minister. Then passenger amenities expenditure is going to be increased by 67%. That means more emphasis on passenger amenities like escalators, new platforms, new stations. All these things will come up as part of the passenger amenities expenditure. Right? The next important aspect is All India 24/7 helpline with 138 number. Anyone across the country can ring up this number 138 to get information about railways. Another important aspect is for the safety of women. 182 phone number already launched, and this is toll-free number. Remember, 138 is 24/7 helpline and 182 is toll-free number for the safety of women passengers. Next, now lot of time is wasted in procuring unreserved ticket, because normally we see long queues in front of unreserved ticket selling counters. Now the Railway Minister announced, under the new scheme of Operation 5 minutes, you will get unreserved ticket within 5 minutes. For that, he want to introduce hot button facility. One more important thing announced is online booking of wheelchairs and retiring rooms at stations. For the differently abled people or for elder people, this wheelchairs and retiring rooms, they can be booked online. Look at other thing, 200 model stations will come up. Wi-Fi facility will be extended to beat category stations also. Here, railway categorizes stations based upon revenue. Railway categorizes stations. A class station, B class station, C class station, like that railway categorized stations. At present it is available for A category and above only. Now they are going to introduce this facility to B category stations also. Another thing is to keep trains and stations clean. Swachh Rail, Swachh Bharat slogan will be there in Indian Railways. That means, in line with Swachh Bharat program, railways also will be made neat and clean, and for that the slogan is Swachh Rail, Swachh Bharat. One more important thing is SMS alert for arrival and departure at originating and destination stations. You will get SMS alert if the train is delayed by 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You will get SMS alert almost 15 minutes before the arrival at the destination station. One more thing is, during the next 5 years, for capacity augmentation, more than 8.5 lakh crores will be spent. For capacity augmentation of railway lines during the next 5 years, more than 8.5 lakh crores will be spent. One more thing is, they are going to release vision document for 2030. That means, vision document 2030 will be released shortly, and operating ratio for next year will be 88.5%. What is operating ratio? Operating ratio is nothing but, if your income is 100 rupees, I am explaining in the context of 88.5% operating ratio. That means, if your income is 100 rupees, you are spending 88 rupees 50 paise on the operating expenditure. That means, your income is 100 rupees and you are required to spend 88 rupees 50 paise for running the affairs of railways. For running the affairs of railways, you are required to spend rupees 88 and 50 paise when your earning is 100 rupees. That means, how much is left over for development? Only hardly 11 rupees 50 paise will be left over. One more thing, to ensure seamless transportation, Transloc will be started, that is Transport Logistics Corporation of India, basically to synchronize multimodal transport. That is Transport Logistics Corporation of India. One more important aspect is, in 9 select routes, Delhi Mumbai, Delhi Chennai, Delhi Calcutta, like that, in 9 select routes, at present the maximum permissible speed is 100 kmph to 130 kmph. At present the maximum permissible speed is 100 kmph to 130 kmph. This is going to be increased to 160 kmph to 200 kmph. One more important thing is to promote innovation for the persons who are coming up with new ideas pertaining to innovation. Name is Kaya Kalp will be set up. Look at the other one. Full-fledged university will come up next year. Full-fledged railway university will come next year. One more thing is, to track parcels, RFID tags will be introduced. Radio frequency identification tag. That means parcels can easily be tracked For that purpose, barcodes or RFID tags will be introduced. One more thing is more investments through public-private partnership route. We have already discussed more investments through public-private partnership route. Remember, next year more emphasis is on opening of new lines, construction of new lines. Next year 84% higher allocation will be there and 1200 kilometers of new lines will be commissioned next year. And 2700% more allocation for doubling, quadrupling or electrification. What is doubling? When one line is there, you are laying second line, that is doubling. When two lines are there, you are laying the third line, that is third line. When three lines are there, you are laying fourth line, that is quadrupling of the lines. And electrification projects, that means he wants to increase investment for these purposes. He wants to increase investment whether through the available means or through public-private partnership. The investment is to be increased for construction of new lines, for doubling purposes, for laying additional lines, for electrification. This is the main motto of the budget. So, action plan for next 5 years was also enunciated by the Honorable Railway Minister. In the action plan, let us look at the action plan. Passenger carrying capacity will go up from 21 million to 30 million. At present, passenger carrying capacity is 2.1 crores and this will go up to 3 crore passengers a day within the next 5 years. Second thing is track length. Track length is at present 1,14,000 kilometers. I have already told you about route length. Route length is different, track length is different. If you are looking at two towns, suppose if you look at the distance between Delhi to Lucknow. Delhi to Lucknow distance is around 500 kilometers. If you look at the route length is 500 kilometers. But everywhere double track is there. So the total track length is more than 1000 kilometers. Route length is different, track length is different. So in India, Indian Railways has got roughly 65,000 kilometers of route length, whereas total track length is at present 1,14,000 kilometers. Route length is, I would like to explain once again. If you take two cities, Delhi and Lucknow, the distance between these two places is hardly 500 kilometers. So here the route length is 500 kilometers, but the track length is more than 1000 kilometers because everywhere you have double track and some stations you have 4 tracks also. So the total length of track will be measured when you talk about track length. When you talk about route length, only distance between those two places will be measured. Here the track length is going to be increased from 1,14,000 kilometers to 1,38,000 kilometers during the next 5 years. At the same time, the Indian Railways at present is carrying roughly 1000 million tons of freight. Freight means goods. At present, Indian Railways is carrying 1000 million tons of freight. This is going to be increased to 1500 million tons within the next 5 years. So, these are the important aspects of the budget. Right at the end, if someone wants to conclude, I would like to tell this budget is without populist measures. This budget has taken different route altogether. There is paradigm shift towards PPP route. There is paradigm shift towards structural reforms, and ultimately it is to be seen in a complex and diverse country like India whether the railway minister is able to walk the talk or not. It's a $1 million question. Let us wish him all the best. Thank you.